One of the most powerful AI companies on earth just stood up and said, somebody needs to build a brake pedal before this thing drives us off a cliff. That company is Anthropic, the makers of Claude, worth nearly $1 trillion. And this week, they basically admitted the car they're building has no brakes. So the question I can't stop asking is, are they being heroes, or are they playing one of the smartest games we've ever seen? Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll see why this story is way more slippery than the headlines. Here's the line that got me. One of their own co-founders, Jack Clark, went on CNN and said this: when he looks at the car the whole industry is driving, all he's got is a gas pedal, no brake. And one day, we might really want one. Let that sink in. The guy helping build the engine is telling you nobody installed the brakes. So here's what actually happened. On June 4th, Anthropic published a proposal calling for a coordinated global pause mechanism for frontier AI. Not a pause right now, but the ability to pause if AI systems start improving themselves faster than we can keep up. The trigger phrase they keep using is recursive self-improvement. Translation: AI that designs the next, better AI, then that one designs an even better one. And humans? We're just watching from the back seat. And before you call that science fiction, Clark reckons some models could be capable of this within roughly 2 years. 2 years. Now, here's the part that made my jaw drop, and it's the bit most headlines skipped. Anthropic backed this up with their own internal data, and it's wild. As of May 2026, more than 80% of the code going into Anthropic's own codebase, the code that builds Claude, wasn't written by humans. It was written by Claude. The AI is already building itself. Their engineers are now shipping 8 times as much code per quarter as they were just 2 years ago. Claude reportedly squashed over 800 bugs in a single month. My honest reaction, that's the most convincing argument I've ever seen for. The loop has already started. They're not theorizing about self-improving AI. They're describing their Tuesday. But, and this is a big but, let's put my cynical hat on for a second, because the timing here is spicy. Anthropic just closed a funding round valuing them at around $965 billion, and they filed confidentially to go public. So you've got a near $1 trillion company, about to IPO, suddenly calling for the entire industry to slow down. Ask yourself, who benefits most from a slowdown? Think about it. If you freeze the race right now, who's already at the front? Anthropic, OpenAI, Google DeepMind, the giants with the talent, the data, the infrastructure, the moats. A pause doesn't erase those advantages, it arguably locks them in. New competitors get frozen out. The leaders get to consolidate. Critics are already saying this looks less like conscience and more like building a wall behind you after you've crossed the finish line. And honestly, I think both things can be true at once. I think the people at Anthropic genuinely are scared of what they're building. And I think a coordinated pause would also happen to be brilliant for business. That's what makes this so uncomfortable. The most convenient warning is still sometimes a real one. To be fair to them, they're not naive about it. They flat out said a single company hitting the brakes alone would be pointless. It'd just hand the lead to less cautious rivals. So they're calling for a verifiable system where labs can actually prove everyone else has slowed down too. So nobody secretly sprints ahead while pretending to pause. That's the genuinely hard part, because that level of trust between rival superpowers and trillion-dollar companies, we've never managed it with nuclear weapons. Why would AI be easier? So here's where I land. For the first time, the warning isn't coming from a protester outside the building, though those happened too, back in March. It's coming from inside the building, from the people with the most to lose by saying it. Maybe that's exactly who we should listen to, or maybe it's exactly who we should question hardest. I don't think we get the luxury of choosing just one. I want to know what you think. Drop it in the comments. Is Anthropic being the only adult in the room, or is this the smartest competitive move of 2026 dressed up as a conscience? I read every single one. And if you want me breaking the AI stories nobody else will say out loud, subscribe. We're small, we're growing, and you're early. That's the story. The company building the fastest car in the world just asked everyone to agree on a brake pedal. Whether that's bravery or strategy, I'll let you decide. And remember, keep the faith.